Men fall in love deeply when you trigger this one powerful need they'll never admit out loud. Men don't fall in love during romantic dinners or passionate kisses. They fall in love in the quiet, unscripted moments when they feel something they've been craving their entire lives but never knew how to ask for: emotional safety. I remember coaching a woman named Sarah who was beautiful, successful, and constantly dating, but could never get past the 3-month mark with any man. She was doing everything right, looking perfect, being available, never causing drama. But here's what she didn't realize. She was focusing on what men seem to want, not what they actually need. Right now, I want you to think about your last relationship or dating situation. Were you trying to be the perfect woman, or were you being authentically you? Write down your honest answer. The truth is, every man is walking around with an invisible wound, the wound of emotional isolation. From childhood, men are taught to hide their feelings, to be strong, to never show weakness. So when you come along and create a space where he can finally breathe, where he can be human instead of heroic, something shifts in his heart that he can't explain. Let me tell you about the most powerful emotional trigger in a man's heart: the need to feel emotionally significant. Not praised for what he does, not admired for his success, but truly seen for who he is when nobody's watching. I've watched this transformation happen countless times. A man meets a woman who makes him feel like he matters in a way no one else ever has. And suddenly, he can't shake her. She stays on his mind. She becomes his standard, and he starts prioritizing her without even understanding why. Here's what this looks like in real life. Instead of saying, "You're so successful," or "You're so strong," you say something like, "I love how your mind works," or "You make me feel like I can slow down and breathe when I'm with you." So you're not complimenting his performance, you're acknowledging his essence. Practice this today. Instead of complimenting what someone does, acknowledge who they are. Try it with anyone: a friend, family member, or romantic interest. Here's something that might blow your mind. The woman he sleeps with is often different from the woman he falls in love with. He might sleep with the woman who says yes to everything, but he loves the woman who makes him step up, who challenges him to be better. I once worked with a client who was always the cool girl. Never complained, never had needs, never set boundaries. She thought this made her attractive, but it actually made her forgettable. Why? Because there was no depth, no substance for him to connect with. When you're always giving, always accommodating, always perfect, you're not creating love, you're creating obligation. And men don't fall in love with pressure. They fall in love in space, in respect, in the moments where they get to choose you rather than feel forced to show up for someone who's emotionally clinging. Identify one area where you've been overgiving or avoiding setting a boundary. Practice saying no to something small today, or express one authentic need you've been hiding. Let me share something profound with you. Men are starving for emotional depth, but they've been trained to run from it until someone shows them how safe it can feel. When you become the person who can hold space for his inner world, without losing yourself in the process, you stop being an option and start being home. This doesn't mean becoming his therapist or trying to fix him. It means being present when he shares something vulnerable, not rushing to give advice or make it better, but simply saying, "I get why that would matter to you." I remember a story one of my clients shared. Her boyfriend was stressed about work, and instead of saying, "Don't worry about it," or "It'll be fine," she said, "That sounds really overwhelming. You handle so much pressure, and you do it with such grace." He later told her it was the first time he felt truly understood by a woman. The next time someone shares something with you, resist the urge to fix or minimize. Instead, reflect back what you hear them feeling. Try "that sounds" and see how they respond. Emotional safety isn't just about being nice or supportive. It's about creating an environment where someone can be their full self and still be respected, desired, and accepted. It's about witnessing his truth and reflecting it back without judgment. This is why some women, even if they're not conventionally beautiful or the loudest in the room, leave marks on men's hearts that last for years. It's not about looks. It's about energy, about how he feels when he's around you. Here's what emotional safety looks like practically. When he's talking about something that seems small, maybe a frustration at work or a childhood memory, you tune into the feeling behind his words. You might say something like, "It's not even about the job, is it? It's about feeling like your efforts go unnoticed." Practice active listening today. When someone is talking to you, focus completely on understanding their emotional experience, not just their words. Ask yourself, what are they really feeling right now? There's a difference between vulnerability and emotional dumping. True vulnerability is sharing small, honest pieces of yourself without expecting someone else to carry your emotional weight. It's about being real without being needy. I learned this lesson myself through years of my own relationships and therapy. Real connection happens when you can be open about your feelings while still maintaining your emotional center. You're not handing someone your heart and saying, "Here, please fix this." You're inviting them into your world. Words that create this kind of connection sound like, "Being with you makes me feel calm, like I'm safe to be fully me." Or, "I feel so held when I'm with you, like I don't have to carry it all alone." These aren't lines or scripts. They're expressions of how someone makes you feel when emotional safety is present. Think about someone who makes you feel emotionally safe. Write down specifically how they make you feel, not what they do. Practice expressing feelings rather than giving reports. Here's something counterintuitive. The right man isn't turned off by your boundaries. He's drawn in by them. When you know your worth and communicate it with grace rather than aggression, you become irresistible, not because you're trying to be, but because you're being authentic. I once coached a woman who was afraid to express what she wanted in dating because she thought it would scare men away. But when she started being honest about her values and what she was looking for, she actually attracted better quality connections. Why? Because clarity is magnetic and confusion repels. The energy you want to embody is, "I'm not in a rush. I'm here. I'm present." This tells him you're not desperate. You're not trying to force anything, and you're confident enough in your worth to let things unfold naturally. Write down 3 non-negotiable values or standards you have in relationships. Practice communicating one of these in a calm, confident way if the situation arises. Let me be real with you about what turns men off. Energy that feels desperate, conversations that lack depth, fear-based behaviors disguised as love. When you're constantly checking in, asking for reassurance, or trying to control outcomes, you're not creating safety. You're creating pressure. I see women making this mistake all the time. They think caring means constantly texting, always being available, or never disagreeing. But what this actually communicates is, "I don't believe you'll stay unless I perform for you." And that fear-based energy kills the space that attraction needs to grow. Notice your own patterns. Are you someone who overtexts, over-explains, or over-accommodates? Choose one behavior to dial back this week and observe what happens. Lasting attraction isn't built on chemistry alone. It's built on emotional gravity. This comes from being deeply rooted in yourself, radiating both warmth and self-worth. When a man meets a woman who feels grounded, something inside him stops and pays attention. This is why I always tell women, don't focus on being liked. Focus on being felt. Let him experience your essence, your voice, your energy, and let him come to the conclusion himself that you're not just a vibe, you're a connection. He doesn't want to lose. The most powerful thing you can do is trust yourself. Trust your voice, your timing, your intuition. When you trust yourself, you don't need a man to define your worth. And ironically, that's what makes a man want to keep earning a place in your life. Before your next interaction with someone you're interested in, take 3 deep breaths and remind yourself, I am enough exactly as I am. Notice how this energy feels different. Here's what I want you to remember. Love that lasts isn't about being the most beautiful, the most giving, or even the most understanding. It's about being aligned with yourself. When you know who you are, what you want, and what you won't settle for, you naturally attract someone who's aligned with that energy. Your power isn't in convincing someone to stay, it's in recognizing who's worthy of walking with you. So step into that energy, claim it, live it, and watch what shifts not just in your love life, but in how you carry yourself through everything. Start practicing emotional awareness. Catch yourself when you're about to react from fear. Speak to people the way you want to be spoken to. Don't be afraid to say what you want, but say it with grace, not pressure. And when in doubt, pause, breathe, and let your authentic energy do the work. Choose one thing from this entire message that resonated most with you. Commit to practicing it for the next 7 days. Whether it's setting a boundary, expressing a feeling, or simply being more present in conversations, make it your focus. Remember, you don't have to chase love. You become it. You become the kind of woman who makes a man want to show up not out of obligation or fear, but because being with you feels like truth, like peace, like home. And that, my friend, is how real love begins and how it never fades. Drop down your views in the comments and subscribe for more.